What's going on, YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video, but today we're not talking about global, we're talking about JP, and I know some of you guys may have heard a little bit about some rumors about summon festivals, how they're ruining the game, and we're going to go more in depth, give you guys what exactly they are, and explain it so you can prepare yourself for hearing global. Alright guys, so before we get into this video, there are a few things I want to say. For the first part of this video, I'm just trying to lay down facts about what exactly happened in the JP portion of the game. There will be obvious spoilers because I will be talking about units that are released in JP, so if you don't want any of that, just go ahead and stop watching the video. Thank you so much for being here. I will do my best to mitigate the spoilers though by calling certain units just different names in a way, but you'll still know what I'm talking about. The second thing I want to say is I don't play the JP version of the game. And so when I do give my opinion piece at the end, this is just based on global and if that came to global, not how I've been playing JP or the way, you know, because obviously those players are going to feel a little bit different or maybe the same as it is because they're actually in the game. So I don't want to say like, you know, I know everything or whatever. It's just my opinion piece because I know people want me to give it at the end. But for the first part, just informing everyone so they can prepare themselves for if it does end up coming to global. So as we can see here and where we're at, we are on the update schedule for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius through the Exvius wiki. So the reason I have this little portion right here highlighted is eventually coming soon to global, and when it released in JP, they started releasing after the 3rd anniversary CG units of main Final Fantasy characters. So for example, our first one was Aurora Lightning, meaning CG Lightning, where when she used her limit burst, this would be a grand like CG, just like we got with you know, CG Lastwell, CG Fina, etc. And it was really cool, right? I mean, to get most of us play this game for nostalgia factor with added on. We're loving FFBE too. You know, we like Rain, Lastwell, Fina. But this was big for a lot of people because then they can start thinking, you know, what characters are they going to make CG? Are they going to make my favorite character CG? So this comes out, and Lightning's actually really powerful. And then we go through here, a couple of other things come out. And then a month later, so we go from November 1st to December 1st, 2018. We hit another CG unit that comes out, and that is Warrior of Light Bartz. And with Warrior of Light Bartz, just like before, we get a great unit, great damage dealer, does this cool looking, it looks like they're modeling them after a Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Cool animation for their thing. You can summon for them if you like them. We have Warrior of Light Lena to go with them. A lot of these units have another of their units from their games, you know, coupled with them. Sometimes not as good, sometimes better, who knows, but they're coupled with them. Moving on through here, we can go to, let's see, we need to go a full month ahead of time. So we're going to go from December 1st, make sure I don't miss anything in between here. We're going to go ahead and head to, where is it? Right here, January 1st. So it seems like it's every month they're going to release a CG Final Fantasy character. Oops, didn't mean to click on that. Magitech Warrior Terra comes out, essentially CG Terra. We also get Treasure Hunter Locke, and they're both great characters, right? If you like Final Fantasy VI, you're gonna love these characters, probably pull for them. And this is when they introduced like a really weird step up that had a bunch of steps, but you know, you could pull for the units like normal, everything's going great, nothing going too wrong, right? And the reason I'm telling you guys this, and I know it's going to take a minute to get into the real thing that we want to talk about, it's just I want to lay the groundwork for how they were releasing units before the big change. So then after that, you can see we have even some more Final Fantasy VI units that get released. And then we have a month later, so February 1st, we have CG Firion. And he comes with Dark Knight Leon, and so again, a Final Fantasy mainstay character, released, awesome. And then it comes along another Final Fantasy 5-star character from that Final Fantasy to be put with them, okay? And then comes the big event that everybody's talking about, and what kind of changed the way the game works. And that was February 12th, so only 2 weeks later. We hit CG Dark Fina, and at first, you guys are probably thinking, what's wrong with that, Claic? That seems awesome. I love Dark Fina. Well, when she came out, she brought something entirely different, changing the way the game works, summoning-wise, entirely. CG Dark Fina brought with her something they call summon festivals, or fests, or whatever you guys hear, slang term you guys hear out there, and it changed everything. So first and foremost, these units could not be UOC'd. That's right, the 5-star base unit CG Dark Fina could not be UOC'd. And this right here marks a trend where if any unit is on the festival banner, 5-star base, you cannot UOC them unless otherwise stated. So essentially it's setting a precedent that these new units we're going to release, you're not going to be able to UOC them, at least with the tickets that you've been saving. So the tickets we have here on Global, can't use them on CG Dark Fina. The next thing they did, and I'm talking about the negatives right now on this, because there are a lot of positives. The next thing they did was they said that CG Dark Fina would not be going into the normal pool. Instead, she would be in the festival pool, and anytime a festival pool happened, summon festival happened, she would be there and you could get her off banner, but only when that was going on. So that's another negative, right? Obviously, I think the UOC is the biggest negative by far, but that's another negative. The next thing they did was all summon rates were increased by 5% as long as you were summoning on the CG Dark Fina Festival banner. So they went up from 3% to 5%. So that's pretty good. So that's a good positive. That's a good increase to rainbow rates, which really helps you guys with getting these units. And the next, I guess I should stop saying really good or not. I guess it is a positive. I'm trying not to give too much of an opinion piece on this part so far. And the next portion they did was they raised on banner rates. So right now in Global, and I do believe before this in JP, it was 1% on banner, 2% off banner. So you actually had a bigger chance of getting an off banner unit than an on banner unit. But here, starting with CG Dark Fina and the Summon Festival, it became 2.5% to 2.5%, equaling out to 5% rainbow. So it made it much more likely that you would get a banner unit. And made your Lapis and tickets much more worth it, while taking away any kind of value you have in your UOC, unless further stated that there would be. Okay, so what did this do? Well, first off, it definitely spread the notion, and I believed this until I started making this video, that CG Dark Fina was a limited time unit. And while she can still be considered to be a limited time unit, she's not the same limited time. I just want to make sure you guys understand this before we move on. She's not the same kind of limited time as somebody like 2B or Sora would be, correct? Because she returns in the summoning pool every time they do a festival thing, okay? And on top of all of that, they actually, something a lot of people have been wanting, they reduced the amount of 5 stars that was in the summoning pool during Summon Fest. So it's like its own summoning pool. Anything that was before Marie, Orlando, Gilgamesh, Ace, Queen, all of those 5 stars were gone. You could not summon them anymore. So they shortened the pool even more to try to make people happy with them getting rid of those. And while I personally don't know if that really helps people or makes people happy, because they really just wanted better on-banner chances, which I guess it kind of helps you, especially when it's time for off-banner Fest units, because there's less in the pool, you have a better chance of getting those off-banner Fest units. At the very beginning, people were definitely focused on the fact that CG Dark Fina was, in a way, limited. So, not limited as much as somebody like 2B, or Sora, or any of the actual collab events, because those only come around like once every forever, or once every other year, or something like that. CG Dark Fina would only return when there was a Fest summon going on. At least that's to the knowledge of what everybody had at this point. And she would be an off banner. So you could pull her. And the thing is, as these Fest banners become more often, or they come at once every month, you at least have 2 weeks of summoning, as long as you're summoning on that banner, where CG Dark Fina could pop up. So I think one of the things I was really confused about at this point was I thought these units were just limited. Like, they came out and they were gone, just like Sora or 2B were. Instead, 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks out of a month, if you talking about off banner, which is like insane to pull, these units are in the summoning pool. So the limited thing really goes on to, in my opinion, the UOC on usage, which is absolutely ridiculous, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And we'll continue with what units are releasing and how it got worse from here. So I have now switched to this kind of view instead of being on the wiki page. Reason being is that there are some names that go along with CG Rain and CG Lastwell that could be considered spoilers. I personally do not believe these two names, just saying they get CG versions, are spoilers, because who knows what they are, right? I mean, obviously the three main characters, Fina, they're going to get new CG Dark Fina. You don't think CG Rain or CG Lastwell are going to come out with new ones? So, and honestly, the other ones. So anyway, I'm sorry if it is. If you'd like to know what their names are, spoil yourself all you want to, but I will say there are massive story spoilers inside of these names, okay? So after CG Dark Fina, and people were really upset to see that happening. Well, I wouldn't say most people. I didn't play JP, so I don't know what exactly the feel was, but negatives speak the loudest. So people were not happy with the summon festivals. At least that's my experience from hearing from people. Next up came CG Warrior of Light, so the next CG unit was CG Warrior of Light with Garland, and this was a non-fest banner. CG Warrior of Light was great, one of the amazing physical tank, and came with, yet again, another Final Fantasy unit. So from Warrior of Light's game, which is great. Then came another Fest unit. So a solid month, I do believe, after CG Dark Fina came out, came CG Rain. And CG Rain brought the same step up that CG Dark, and we'll go over those in a little bit. CG Dark Fina came. He brought the festival, so shortened summoning pool, 5% rainbow chance. CG Rain had a 2.5% chance to pull him, a 2.5% chance to be pulling off banner, and you could get him, and he was phenomenal, just like Dark Fina, by the way. I think I do need to say this. They're both phenomenal broken units in the game. Like, I guess broken's a bad way. Meta units. That's the way I want to put it, because people have a lot in broken. And so, you know, it continued. Again, you can't UOC CG Rain. However, their step-ups, you do get at least one guaranteed of these two units, and you can only do their step-up once, which we'll go over that in a minute. So, you know, that's another unit, another storyline, another FFBE unit. Why are you not allowing people to UOC them? Why are they somewhat limited in this new festive thing? That's what people are thinking, right? At least that's what I think they're thinking. I don't play JP. Next unit up, CG Onion Knight with Hein. This is the mark where people are like really start getting worried, right? They're really like, what is happening? As with all of those other CG, there's been a ton of them that I've gone over. They've all been non-fest units. Dark Fina comes out, then CG Warrior of Light comes out non-festival, then CG Rain comes out festival, and then CG Onion Knight festival unit, meaning no UOCs. If Onion Knight's your favorite, you're not gonna be able to spin those UOCs. And that's pretty much the negative there, because you can't UOC. That's the biggest thing. So people were like, why are you making Final Fantasy characters now that we've been wanting and loving, and the nostalgia for the game locked behind not being able to use UOCs? However, I do want to point out, you guys already seen the spoilers if you're reading what's down here, what's about to happen. But you know, still having a Hein, which is a unit that goes along with Onion Knight, correct? Then we had CG Lastwell, the newest CG Lastwell to come out. Same as CG Rain, same as CG Dark Fina, a Fest summon. So I do want to point out here, we have CG Onion Knight, Fest. We have CG Lastwell, Festival. They're very close to each other. Meaning that these limited, as far as can I get these units off banner, right? If they keep running Festival summoning times, you're pretty much, as long as you're pulling on a Fest banner, you have it, they're not limited as in, can I get them off banner, right? Because they're always there for you to be pulling on. So, I think that's more taken out and more the UOC thing coming in, okay? That's just clarifying that, because, again, these units are limited and not in the normal summoning pool, but what it looks like here as we're creating a picture is they're creating a new summoning pool for you to summon from. That's what it seems like to me. You guys can let me know. Then after CG Lastwell, CG Noctis comes out and people start losing their minds. They're super pumped. They're excited. People love Noctis. He's a fan favorite for sure. But he's with CG Rain. And people are like, wait a minute. So he's Fest, by the way. He's Fest again. So now they are starting to paint the picture of every unit that comes out. CG-wise, probably going to be Fest. Even the Final Fantasy units, not just the FFBE units. Sorry about that. I somehow left my sound on for my computer. Fail. Anyway, it was a follow. So that's on its own kind of weird feeling, right? Because now not just the FFB units are there, but now also the Final Fantasy units seem like they're going to be Fest units from here on out, which means no UOCs. So all the new great units can't UOC them. And then he comes with CG Rain, which, like I said before, CG Rain is one of the top damage dealing units in Japan, so this is not bad by any sense when it comes to value town or power level in the game. But when you're summoning on a Final Fantasy 15 banner, you know, it's a little bit weird when you want Noctis and you're getting Rain if you've already summoned on Rain, right? Because let me tell you how it works in Japan when it comes to the summon festivals with 2 units on the banner, okay? So normally it's still the 1%, 2% that we've been seeing in global for a long time. Even with 2, you have those 2 is 1% or whatever, and then you have 2%. In the in the summon festivals for Japan, when you have 2 units on, instead of being 2.5%, 2.5% like it would be for CG Rain, it is 3% on banner, okay? And that is big to 2% off. That's huge. I know a lot of time people are like, that's not that big. You are reversing the 1% to 2%. How many times have you summoned a rainbow in global right now and out pops a unit that you definitely didn't want, right? And it's because you had a 1% to 2% odds chance, you know, 1% on banner, 2% off, that you were going to get an off banner. It was double. Now you have 3 to 2. So the odds of getting Noxus or CG Rain and not a random rainbow are pretty high. They're changing, you know, that for the better for the banner units. But people didn't like the CG Rain being there too much because essentially you can't save yourself. You still need 2 units, right? You still need 2 CG Noctis in order to be able to be, and the same thing with the Sunday Night up here, to be able to use them, right? Because 7 stars are the meta. You can't, 6 stars are kind of extinct at this point. And you can't UOC the other one, so there's no like fallback. So if you end up getting CG Rain, CG Noctis after you do your step up, by the way, this one had 5 steps on it, so you could go ham. We'll talk about that in a minute. You kind of were screwed because you couldn't use the UOC, right? And then last but not least, I think the nail in the coffin for a lot of people, Luna Freya comes out. And it wasn't even announced. Nobody knew about this. It just, maintenance happens and Luna Freya comes out, and she is paired with CG Dark Fina, which I didn't put CG in there, my apologies. CG Dark Fina on the banner. So, couple things we're seeing here. The Summon Fest are reusing some of the characters, so you have a chance to get them because they are somewhat limited. And Luna Freya is non-CG. She's just a normal unit. She would be like the Hein here, the Garland here, and she was on her own Summon Fest banner, and she is a Summon Fest unit. You cannot UOC her. Okay? What is happening to the game, right? That's what people are thinking. Does this mean that every unit coming out is going to start becoming a Fest unit? Does this mean that every unit coming out is, even if non-CG, we're going to have to not be able to UOC? Are they deleting UOC from the game? Are they phasing it out? These are questions we'll have to answer as more and more Summon Festival banners come out, as this is the first one really to have a unit like that on it. We just don't have enough information, in my opinion, to make those clarifications. But if you want to look at it and make your own, you know, ideas of what they're going for, you can. The next part of this video, so now I've explained what exactly is happening. We're going to look at a banner we've recently had in Global with Esther and Sylvie, and we're going to compare that to a CG Rain Summon Festival or a CG Laswell Summon Festival banner, and we're also going to compare to the CG Noctis with CG Rain banner and see how much better the rates are before I give my final opinion on it. Alright guys, so here we are on a thing that we've mathed out. My friend Godzilla helped me with this. He's much better at math than I am. You guys know that I have gorilla math, but we got through this together, and essentially what we did was we took the Esther and Sylvie step up. As you can see here, this is global. Down here, these are the 2 JP ones. So I'm going to explain. I'm not really going to explain the Esther and Sylvie banner because you guys should know that. You summoned on it. You guys know what you get and things like that. We will be referencing what your percentages are to get certain units and things like that. What I wanted more talk about is show you guys what an example of a Summon Festival step up is, and then explain why it's kind of impossible besides these to really determine what a Summon Festival step up will be because they've changed so much. Okay, so again, if we go to JP here, we have a total rainbow rate of 5%. It is up from, if we go up to global, it is a 3% chance. On banner rate is 2.5 for an on banner unit. In global, it is 1% at this point, and then off banner rate is 2.5. In global, it's 2%. So it's much better rates, as you can see. One of the things a lot of people don't know is that when you have a 4-star or above unit coming down, so when you have that guaranteed plus, you know, the +1 coming down that's going to be yellow or gold, that actually has better odds for you to be pulling on banner and a rainbow out of it, right? Because it's already coming down yellow. So the rainbow rate of that 4-star that comes down is 7% for you to get a rainbow. On banner rate, 5.25% compared to a 1.75. And then we have another thing that's really weird that I want to point out is that, you know how on global they'll have random rainbow, so guaranteed random 5-star rainbow right here. There are no rate ups on those, as we've talked about before. You just get a random unit, there are no banner rate ups. But because these are Summon Festival banners, the 3%, you know, 2% on banner, or 2% on banner, 1% off, or whatever, that is applied, or in this case 2.5%, 2.5%. That is applied to the random rainbow. So it's really crazy to think like that. So it makes your odds even better. Essentially, it has some rate ups. It's very minimal, but it does have some rate ups. And you can see here that the banners they've released with this that have been the same every time has been CG Dark Fina, CG Laswell, and CG Rain. So essentially CG Dark Fina came out, she had this. CG Rain came out, he had this. CG Laswell came out, he had this. So I'm looking to think that as more CG FFBE units come out, they'll probably have this banner. You can see that you can do a max of 1 time on the step up, and it costs 25k lapis. So similar to what we do, but you can only do it once. The first one, you get a 10+1 and a 10% Moogle. Second one, 10+1, 10% 5-star ticket. Next one, 10+1 random rainbow that does have some rate ups, which is kind of cool, but it is a 5-star. 10+1, 10 max king metal, cactuars. And then the last one, 10+1 guaranteed banner 5-star. So again, it only has Fina, it only has Lasso, it only has Rain. If you spend 25k Lapis, you are guaranteed to at least get one of those units when you spend this on here, okay? So if we go over here and we look at what are our probabilities of getting a banner unit. What are your expected banner units when you do this step up? This is not like a percentage. This is like expected value. So, you know, how many of a banner unit can you expect when you spend this money if we do the calculation? So if you spent 25k, you've done the step up, you can expect 2.5 of a banner unit, meaning that you can expect to get a 7-star off of this. And 2.5 makes it, you know, even more in your favor. You might even get 3, but again, this is expected value. You could get nothing but the one they guarantee you. Moving on down, expected rainbows are 4.85. So when you do this, you should get around 4, maybe even 5 rainbows. And then they also give you, we didn't factor these in because you could spend them on anything you want. A 10% 5-star ticket, we did not put that in for expected value. You can spend that on whatever you want. And then comparatively, so I know this is a 25 and a 24k, and yes, the step up is different, but we're going to compare to the best step up we just had. Probability of an on-banner unit, or number of, probability of on-banner unit, number of expected on-banner units is 2. And that is with 1 being guaranteed down here. This one is 2.5, which already shows, hey, you're getting a little bit better value, right? You're already getting more, and there's only 1 on the banner, so you're definitely probably getting a 7-star. I know, definitely, probably, maybe, but you know, that looks a little bit better. Expected rainbows, we have 2 that are guaranteed. You have about a 3.89 on the rainbows there. Here you have 4.85. So you're getting, it looks like you're getting at least 1 extra rainbow guaranteed, which is great. So these numbers, these Summon Festival numbers, they're looking better for us as a group. And also, again, even though it is shown in this probability of expected on-banner rainbows, these rainbows you get have that 2.5% chance of being on-banner as opposed to the 1% it had before. And yeah, so then let's say you do some of these step-ups. We did not determine the 30% feature ticket in any of this because you could spend it. Remember, it's only a 30% chance to be on-banner, et cetera, et cetera. So another thing we did was we just wanted to say, hey, if you just wanted to sling some Lapis, how would your 10+1s look? So these are just the normal 10+1s on the banner, etc. So if we go to 25k spent, you can expect probability of an on-banner unit is only 0.6. So your expected value of an on-banner unit, how many you're going to get? 0.6 of a unit, which is like, and you can't just get 1.6 unit, but I hope you guys are understanding that's not 1 unit, right? So your odds of getting 1 are low. Expected rainbows, 1.75. So if you spend, like, look at the difference here and how important step-ups are. If you spend 25k Lapis on just 5+1 or 10+1s, you're only expected to get 1.75 rainbows, as opposed to the 3.89 if you would do the step-up. So step-ups are very important. Now let's compare this 25k down here to the new Summon Festival rates, right? You are expected actually to get 1.5. Your probability, your expected value on getting a CG Rain, a CG Lasso, or a CG Fina, 1.5. So you pretty much should get 1 at least, and you might even get 2, okay? You have the same odds of getting 2 by just spending the 25k as you do, it's really close to just spending 25k on this banner. So, you know, it's showing that the rate ups are really good. Now, what I want to look at here is you can see that, you know, you can do all this, you can do a max of 4 times, right? On this step up here. If you look here at 96k, what we did instead is we went ahead and spent 95k down here on the 10+1s, or 70k. We're just gonna go with the 70k because you do have the 25k you did with this, right? So if you look at that, you have you're probably gonna get about 7 or so on banner rainbows, possibly getting 8 on banner units, and then expected rainbow 15.56. If we look down here and we spent this, you're probably getting about 4 of the on-banner units, but if we add that, go ahead and add that to this, you know, it gets around to be, you know, a little bit higher than it is up here. It's very close, though. It's very close. We're getting very close. And then expected rainbows, 7.98, plus the 4 we have here. You get a little bit less expected rainbows, and strictly that is speaking because you are getting guaranteed rainbows here, whereas if you're just doing 10+1s, there are no guaranteed rainbows, okay? So that's important. Next up, we want to talk about the CG Noxus and CG Rain banner. Again, the only reason I'm showing this is because the rates are different. Again, we have on banner 3%. It's up because you have 2, which is crazy they did that because they don't have to. But it's up 0.5%, which I know might not be like a lot, but it adds up eventually. And I just want to point out that it seems like every CG unit that comes out, even the Summon Festival units, all have different step-ups. There has been no universal step up like there was with these three. It's just been all over the place, okay? So if we look at this, it has the same rules. It applies to the JP one that we just talked about. However, the on-banner rate up has gone up to 3%, and this is because you have two different on-banner units you can get. The same rule applied to the guaranteed 4-star that comes down. And I do want to point this out, that if Global keeps up its trend to be like 8+3 or 9+2, you know, these rates will really come in handy. Like, if they switch to these rates, it'll start becoming pretty good. CG Noxus and CG Rain coming out. You can pull this thing 5 times, and it costs 25k lapis each time you do it. This is what you get. 10+1 with a guaranteed random 5-star. That's your first pull. You spend 5k, boom. You get a guaranteed random 5-star, and it does have that 1.5% on each of the banner units. Next up, you have a 10+1. You get a 50% Trust Moogle, but you also get a Final Fantasy 15 ticket. And we'll go into what those are in a minute. Next up, you do a 10+1. You get another guaranteed random rainbow. You do another 10+1. So you're at 20k at this point. You get 10 max level King Metal Mini-Tours and 1 Final Fantasy 15 ticket. And then if you do a 10+1 at the end, you finish it off, the 25k. You'll either get CG Rain or CG Noctis as your prize at the end. So, again, if you're going after Noctis, obviously having CG Rain on there, it's tough. If you really want Noctis. Now, if you're just a person trying to spend lapis out there trying to get the best units you can, Noctis and CG Rain, they're great. They're amazing. I think CG Rain's even a little bit better than Noctis, but I think that's debatable at this point. I don't think Noctis has been out long enough. But, yeah, so, like, as far as value is concerned, that's awesome. But if you really just want a Final Fantasy 15 unit, it kind of sucks for CG Rain to be on there. Looking over here, if we do a step up, if we compare these, probability of on-banner unit is 2.8%, or excuse me, not percentages, these are expected units that you will get. 2.8, so you should get about 2.8 banner units. One of them being guaranteed, and you might get 3 total or 2 more off there. So you might be making a 7-star of one of the two. If we compare it to the other step-ups, it is up a little bit, and that is because the 3% up from the 2.5%. You also have 2 guaranteed random 5-stars in here, which are going to help give you those probability of on-banner units because of this upgrade here. And then our expected rainbow rate is 5.85 as compared to the 4.85. And the reason for that is only strictly because they give you an extra rainbow here, right? You get 2 Final Fantasy 15 tickets. The way these tickets work is you need 5 of them. So to get one, you need to do up to step 2. You need to do 2 full step ups and then do up to step 2. To get 5 of them, you can choose either Noctis or CG Rain, whichever one you want, with those tickets. So it's kind of like a fail-safe there to pick one of the ones that you want, but you would end up having to spend 60k lapis to make that happen. Moving on, you can see that we can keep going up all the lapis tiers. If we compare to the global one currently that has 2 units, we'll do 72k to 75k, and that's the best I could do because this one was only 24. You can see that we're probably getting around 8 on-banner rainbows for the 75k. We may get 9. We may get less than this, but, you know, it's 8.4, so I want to round that down to be about 8. Comparing that to global, you only get about 6. I'm going to round this up to about 6. You actually get 2 more on-banner rainbows with these rates, which is fantastic, and the step up. Obviously, the step up is playing a role. We look down here, expected rainbows, we get 17.55 with this step up in these new rates. Here, we only have 11.6, and since they're both about middle way, we'll say 11 and 17. So you're getting 6 more rainbows, and of course, there being 2 more guaranteed on the banner every time you pull. That's to be expected. At least 2 more. And then you're going to end up with 8 tickets, and you have to end up doing all of the pulls except for the last one in order to be able to get 2 of the UOCs with the step up. So, you know, you guys can take a picture of this. I hope you guys can see this. If you guys didn't like this math and me showing the probabilities and stuff, I'm sorry, but I think it was very crucial for me to show you that the changes to the actual summon rates are very good. They're much more in your favor to get these banner units, and that's why I wanted to do that. So now we're going to break away from this and just talk normally. All right, guys, so that's everything going on in JP, and people are leaving the game. The one thing I want to state is the Lunafera and CG Dark Fina banner step up was fucking god awful. It was nothing like you saw. That Noxus one looked pretty sweet. I do believe CG Onion Knight had a really sweet one as well. And those were awesome. And they, you know, and I think the Fest step ups have been pretty good. But the CG Lunafera, I don't know why they did. Not even CG Lunafera. My bad. Lunafera, not CG. Didn't do CG. It's been pretty tough, right? Because why would you first? We'll talk about it. But it was bad. It was bad. There's no doubting it. It's just a bad banner. As compared, because it doesn't have guaranteed units, guaranteed rainbows enough. It does have like the amount of on banner you can get goes up, so featured summon rate goes up, so on banners go up, but that's not good enough when you could just be getting guaranteed rainbows. It's just not, especially with the rates they have in the festival summon rates. So that is everything in a nutshell that's going on JP. Okay, that if you've been hearing tales of people quitting the game, or JP's on fire, JP sucks, like hopefully it doesn't come to global, that is everything. So now we're going into my opinion piece. So that's everything I can tell you guys. I tried to do the best I could to stay factual, not be too out of everywhere. I was definitely tricked, and I didn't fully understand how these banners worked. I wouldn't say tricked. I did not do enough research. Thinking that these units were extremely limited time, that they actually never got put back in the summoning pool. So I'm glad that I know that now, that they are summonable off banner, and your rates to get them are pretty lackluster, just like they are on any off banner, but they're a little bit better because they've shortened the summoning pool, but they really need to because there's so many units. I also wasn't aware of how great I didn't know that the on banner rate was changed so much. I thought it was the same, essentially, odds to be on banner and off banner. But yeah, so overall, how does this change look? It looks to me, like I said, they're trying to make a new summoning pool. They're essentially trying to delete the old ways of the old summoning pool, and they're just trying to make everything the new fest pool. So what they want to do is, we've always asked for upgraded in rainbow rates. They did that. We always asked for upgraded on banner rates. They did that. But what they also did in JP, which is different than global, and I'll tell you why, they are starting to phase out UOC. And that's the biggest fucking problem here, right? That you can't UOC these units. However, I have always been somebody who says UOC is fucking astronomically powerful. It's phenomenal. People it's insane to me how the game is shifted now in JP, and people still complain about UOCs. Like UOC gets you whatever you want. It is a get out of jail free card on everything in the game that is not a collab unit or a holiday unit. You can get whatever you want in the game, anything you want. You get 10 of those bad boys, and they're giving you for free, all of them. Now, of course, you could buy more, but they give you enough to where you can pull units for free. And in JP, one of the things I want to make a distinguishable thing between global and JP was that global has not gotten as many options or opportunities to get as many UOCs as JP, even close. JP has so much more UOC tickets, ways to get them through the arena, etc., that I think they ran into a problem where people just weren't pulling. Another difference between global and JP was, and we never understood the change, and I'm thinking in my mind, thank God they did that now on global, was that JP, you could UOC the unit right when it came on the banner. So it stopped all kinds of impulse buys. Now, I'm not saying thank God that it somehow pulled people to impulse buy, even myself. I'm just saying these changes may help us not move into a road where UOCs aren't usable. At least that's what I'm hoping. So people will just use UOC. So like, let's say CG Dark Fina was able to be UOC'd. Well, these people would save up their UOCs, and they'd see a unit, and they would just spin, and they would not spin in the game, right? And so us delaying it by 2 weeks on global kind of causes a little bit more impulse buys. You do a couple of pulls just to see if you can get one, so you don't spend 20 UOCs. I call them 2 UOCs, but a UOC to me when we're talking this way is 10, a UOC to pick a unit. And so that was another change. But yeah, the amount of UOCs available, and they definitely fucked up. And you can definitely see that in global as they're reeling back the number of UOCs you can get in global, because it's a lot of them. And I just hope the changes I think it's ass. Like, I don't know how you make, like, I can see you making, like, CG Noctis King of the World awesome unit non-UOCable. Like, it's fine if you make some of them non-UOCable, and you just got to say that because CG units cost a lot more money. Obviously, they're pumping out CG units like you wouldn't believe, so they need to make their money back, and it seems like they're not getting a return on investment, and that's why they came up with this, like, non-UOC. We got to start phasing UOC out. So my final thoughts on all of this as a global player. What do I want to come to global? What do I want to stay the hell away? I want the summon festivals to come. Like, the upped rainbow rates, the upped on banner rates are amazing. It's what you guys have been asking for forever. The only negative to all of this is the ability not to be able to UOC the units. And while it is a huge negative, and I agree with you guys, it's terrible. It sucks. I think we may have some hope. It may not come to global. So I'm just going to say this right now. Gumi, Square Enix, speaking for myself, I want the summon festivals to come. And then a little asterisk there, speaking from everybody, make a lot more of them UOCable. Because in global, do something for us. You know, squeeze us a little bit more in those UOCs. Maybe give a little bit, you're already doing it. If you got to do a little bit more, do that. But don't take away the option to use UOCs on these units. Unless it's something really spectacular. Because a lot of people play this game for nostalgia with Final Fantasy. They want that Noctis. They don't get enough lucky. They can't be spending that money in the game. Give them the option to be able to UOC that Noctis, in which case then when they can, but maybe just start turning back and holding back the UOCs. I think it's the best option we have here in global looking for the future. That's going to be my opinion, but as far as Square Enix and Gumi from the community, all I've heard is please don't take away the UOC ability, and obviously that's what people want, and I agree with that. You know, I would rather be restrained again. I don't know if you guys agree, but I'd rather be restrained with the number I get and be able to use them on anything I want than be given a lot and then pretty much wipe out the ability to use them at all. So those are my final thoughts on it. Again, at first I'd said on my stream, and I'll say it again because I was wrong. I said I would quit the game once these came. It's because I was so misinformed. I had no idea what was going on because I was listening to a lot of the negativity and just not really looking into it too much. And once I looked into it, it really wasn't as bad as it seemed. It's just the UOC debacle. And, you know, we lived that Stone Age before, baby. We were in the realm of having no UOCs before. We were in that dark realm. Who was with me? We couldn't get those UOCs. So, I mean, of course, all you guys were. But, you know, we lived that life. And if we go back to that life and the summon rates aren't good enough to equal out, which, you know, they're not because UOCs are that important, you know, maybe it is time to step away from the game. And, you know, it kind of sucks. And it's a sad thing. But for me, it's just not there yet. That's not enough. Now, splitting up Final Fantasy 15 and slapping in 2 FFBE units instead of just having the one Final Fantasy 15 banner. That's pretty shitty. Don't do that shit again. Holy fuck. Do not do that. That's bad. Like, that is just, oh, that's just money grabbing. Like, why would you do that? And then fucking Step Up was terrible. Anyway, I think it's the first time I've cursed this whole video. Dang it. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. I worked really hard on this video, guys. I promise. I tried my best to be as civil and as good as I could be, but you guys know me, I'm positive. So I'm gonna be positive about it if there is positivity. Like, this is how I truly feel. I promise you that. I've talked to several people who've experienced this. Got their, you know, they told me how they felt, said how I feel, they said how they feel, and this is my final verdict. And comment down below how you feel on this, and subscribe for future content. This video was really long and hard. I worked like for 2 days on it. Hope you guys liked it. We'll catch you guys in the next video.